Hi, I'm Dave Roman, author of the Astronaut Academy series, and I'm here with my friend Diego, who has some questions for me. So fire away.
What were some of your favorite graphic novels when you were a kid?
What were my favorite graphic novels when I was a kid? There's so many. The first graphic novel I ever read was a Garfield comics collection.
I've watched them.
You've watched Garfield cartoons? So I actually saw Garfield as a cartoon show on TV. And then I went to a Scholastic book club. The Scholastic came to my school, and they had the Garfield books, and I bought one, and I fell in love with it, and I read it all the time. And then eventually I found Calvin and Hobbes and a bunch of other great comics.
When did you start drawing?
I probably started drawing, if I hadn't started drawing before I bought that Garfield book, I certainly was drawing after I bought the Garfield book, because looking at the cartoon drawings, I wanted to copy them. So I would copy Garfield, and then eventually started copying Calvin and Hobbes, and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and all my favorite comic characters, until I got better and better at it.
Did you go to a special school to learn how to draw?
I did. When I graduated high school, even though I had been drawing and I thought I was a great artist, I knew I still needed to go to college, so I found an art school called the School of Visual Arts in New York City, and they had all sorts of illustration classes and painting and photography, but I was super interested in the comics classes because they were taught by comic book professionals, people who had worked on Daredevil and Batman and all these superheroes, and I was like, oh, this is so exciting! People like Klaus Janson and get to be my teacher, and I loved going there.
How did you come up with the idea for Astronaut Academy?
I came up with the idea from keeping a sketchbook. I like to draw and doodle all the time. And I drew a little kid who was in her pajamas, but she had a space helmet on. And I thought that was a really funny image, and I started thinking about what it would be like for a little kid to live in outer space. And I started thinking about a school, and that became actually Astronaut Elementary, which this is one of the rare mini comics. When I first started it, it was called Astronaut Elementary, and it was about these little kids, and I photocopied them, and I sold them, and traded them with friends, and eventually one of these ended up in the hands of some publishers, and then they said, we want to make it a book, which meant that I had to make it a lot longer, because it's a graphic novel, and I actually ended up redrawing a lot of the pages from the mini-comic, because I wanted to make them even better, and I had grown as an artist. So, yeah, it was basically just that visual of a kid in her pajamas in space, and I just started thinking about who her friends would be and who her enemies might be, and then I just started thinking of more and more kids that would go to school in the future.
So you mean everybody's a friend?
Well, some people are her friends and some people are not her friends. Like, I knew that she would become friends with Hakata, who's the mysterious boy who is a part of a futuristic robot team. But then I knew that there would be this girl, Maribel Melonbelly, and she is kind of like the spoiled rich girl, and I knew that they would be kind of like oil and water. They're always like fighting and sort of arguing, and when they meet him, they especially start arguing over him, but then they all become friends at the end of the story. Spoiler alert! But then lots of cool stuff happened in the second book.
What are you currently working on, and are there any new Astronaut Academy books in the works?
That's a very good question. Right now, there's no new Astronaut Academy in the works, but I am doing a comic called Star Bunny Incorporated, which if you read Astronaut Academy, you know that bunnies are a big part of that universe, and there's a lot of bunny characters. Star Bunny explores the history of the bunny planet, Hoppiton, and sort of goes into a lot of things that will tie into Astronaut Academy. So even though it's not technically a third Astronaut Academy book, I think you'll like it because there's a lot of crossover between them. But I do hope I can do another Astronaut Academy book someday, but in the meantime, Star Bunny is taking up all my time. Drawing comics takes a lot of work.
What advice do you have for kids who want to be an author or illustrator?
Oh, the advice I would give is to draw all the time. I mentioned that it's a lot of work, but it can be a fun type of work, and if you do it a lot, you get really better at it. I've been drawing since I was your age, and now clearly I'm much older, so if you were drawing every day from now until the time you were my age, you would be the most amazing artist.
What are some of your hobbies you have?
Hobbies? I have no time for hobbies. I'm too busy drawing comics. When you draw comics, there's no time for anything else. You just have to be passionate about it. But I do like to travel. I do like meeting people, and I like to eat. Especially waffles. I have traveled all over the world. Not all over the world, but some pretty cool places, and I hope to travel all over the world.
If you were stranded on a desert island, what 3 books would you bring with you?
If I was stuck on a desert island, what 3 books would I bring with me? Definitely some Calvin and Hobbes. My favorite one was the 2nd volume. Something Under the Bed is Drooling. So I would definitely bring that. Maybe one of the Far Side books. The Far Side books are really funny. And what else? Maybe Zeta the Space Girl by Ben Hackey. I love that book. So I would.
Oh, I read every book.
Yeah, they're really funny. They're super action-packed.
Do you have a kid?
Do I have a kid?
Yeah.
No, I don't have a kid. No kids yet.
Oh, that's all my questions. Thank you.
Well, thank you. It was a pleasure to meet you.